Hey, this is a vlogging moment. Man, my mama be tripping. Yeah, she be tripping. You remember when you used to say that? My mama be tripping, man. But this is a vlogging moment that when I would say that, my mama be tripping. How many of you all can relate to that? Okay, I just want to say, give a shout out first to my Facebook family friends. Just want to holla. and shout out to my husband and children and my family and SL and IMVU and B Spot, fam and friends. Now, I want to apologize in advance. You may hear a little noise and hear the air conditioning, hear people slamming doors in the back and talking loud, whatever. We're in our little studio where, we stay in our studio apartment where I like to just sit in here and chill, no camming, just talking to you all. Because a lot of times I have stuff all on this floor, be painting and all that kind of stuff. That's why I don't like no wall-to-wall furniture. I grew up with all of that, so we have stuff in the storage that we don't want to crowd out our place. We enjoy our kitchen and our bedroom is office, and I mean, it's for us. My husband and I, we enjoy it. So, back to my mama be tripping. Well, I didn't understand it then. When I was growing up, being a teenager, I just didn't understand it. I had a strict household. I am the only child. Only girl. My father died when I was 5. Then we moved in at 5 years old with my grandmother on Bankhead, where my uncle, had bought the house for the parents. So we all moved in together and all of that. And so my mom won't be raising me alone. Okay? So, grandparents, it was different back then. They were more settled up in age and they were still enjoying their life, but it was the traditional way. Every Sunday in church, grandmama stayed at home, so she took care of the house and everything, and helped out with her other children, her other children, you know, and that's what you expect out of grandma, back then. But now these days, we're grandparents and what? Everybody said we different, right? Especially when we're in our 40s. Man, I'm telling you. I mean, it's different. It's different now. I had my son, my first child, when I was 21. Okay, so I already made plans. I said, I have this baby. I'm gonna do what all I need to do. If I gotta get on food stamps, or I gotta get on whatever, or I gotta get on welfare, whatever, and get my place. I have to live in a shelter, whatever. I do what I got to do. Okay, and I did. I had to stay with some friends, whatever. It's not easy. It is not easy. But, and then you can remember back in the day when your parents have children, then the oldest one have to take care of the siblings. Okay? And a lot of people they think that's unfair, but a lot of them did it. But don't think you owe them because they did it, because a lot of times, you know, if you're a single parent and the oldest one have to take care of the siblings, a lot of times it'd be like a little job for them, or they say, okay, take care of your sister, take care of your brother, and I'll pay you for it. But it's nothing to be paid for all the time, and then they didn't ask to have sister and brother, and some do. Say, well, I don't have a sister or brother. That's how my son used to do me, and I did my mom the same way. And I told my son, I said, well, honey, I'm going to have to be married if I have any more children. And it happened. Got married to my girl's father, and then he ended up kind of he would help babysit the kids or whatever. Excuse me. I have a little sinus problem. Um, and I would pay him and make arrangements and make sure when I work, I get in time enough. Thank God I got off at 4. He can leave, and I said, don't be nighttime coming in now. Sometimes my son would try me and come in late at night, like 11 or 12. That was like while he was like 14, you know. So, excuse me. Back to where my mom be tripping. I always said that when I got grown, I am not putting my kids on my mother because that's her life to live. I wanted to make sure I don't be on drugs and strung out, but you know how life is, where that's the main thing they think about is the children. Well, now these days, people use their children as property and an excuse. And I don't care who don't believe in this or who don't see this, but it's real. They use their children for everything. I know, I've been there. But that game done played out, and the government is done shut it down. Okay, the government has shut it down. It used to be the more kids you have, the more money you get, and I got to do it for my grandkids. Well, honey, my mother wasn't gonna have it. My grandfather was a reverend. I grew up in church all my life, and I know, you know, and they did the best they could. You know, every little bit helps. But I'm gonna tell you something. We're not in competition just because there are other grandmothers. It's a blessing now that some of the your children have 2 and 3 grandmothers. Some of them have godparents. But you know what? All of you all need to be on one accord. Cause if one parent teach their one child something, then you all need to be on one accord because children will play against you. If so and so won't do it, well, I'll go to the other one. She will. These kids today, from 18, some of them, 18 to, I don't care, 30, 40, 50, people today think the world owes them something. And God is not going to help you unless you're doing something. You got to take the first step, and then God will take 2. How long you think you're going to play tricks on your parents? Yeah, my mama be tripping. That's what they say. I say the same thing. But now I see. And then when they get grown and have children, then they will see. I just thought we just couldn't get along during my high school year. I'm like, ooh, I couldn't wait till I grew up. Man. But I'm glad I growed up and I'm still growing. I couldn't wait to get grown. Because I'm a loner. So it didn't matter to me. I got used to being by myself and being, and then now I just be to myself and then it be my husband and I. But I enjoy it. I love my peace. I've been in a house full of people. It was my uncles and cousins and, you know, but I rather live the way we're living now. It's just my husband and I and the kids visit, because they stay with him. That's another story in a different situation. All of that's going to be in my book. And it's already in my first book. That's why I have to talk with the parents and have support groups about certain things we go through with our children. A lot of times things happen, that's the first thing you look at is the parent. And sometimes you do have to look at the parent because you find out like, oh my God, no wonder the apple don't fall too far from the tree. And then some parents is like, I've done all I can do, you know. So, but you have to be careful You know, what my mother taught me and taught me how to be independent. Don't depend on no man. Don't depend on nobody but God. Don't even depend on her. When she taught me that, and when you get out there in that world, I understood it. And right to this day, my mom in her mid 70s, I have not put my children off on her. Thank God I had other people that I could pay to do it, you know. But ain't nobody told you to lay down there and have them babies. I don't care if you are married. Don't have unwanted kids because they didn't ask to come here. Okay? They are a blessing, sure enough. Either two things: use birth control or don't have sex at all. That's just point blank. You know. So I'm not. You know, we can't. I'm not. Don't fall into that game about. Well, you know, the baby need this, baby need that, and it's a lie. You ain't doing nothing. And I need to talk to the mothers too. We ain't doing nothing but making our men sorry. That's why a lot of women complain about men being sorry because of us. You have to be careful about our children, period. My grandma used to say, raise your children for somebody else to like them. I'm telling you, I don't play with them. I ain't got time. Even with my own children. If you're a spoiled ass brat, and that's what I said, a spoiled ass brat, I don't play that. You know, I have that thing right now going on with my 10-year-old. I do not play that with either other. I ain't got time to play with none of them. I'm talking about anybody else's. But if they come to me with a sweet spirit, a humble spirit, in which they talk, and they can be, because a lot of them are, then we can talk. But I know a lot of them not, and we just got to listen to them and see what's going on, because none of us perfect. But laying up there just having children just to be having children, mm-mm. I didn't put that on my mom, and I'm not gonna have it either. I mean that. You know, I had married a man. My first husband had 5 children, and you know, and I pray for them and pray that would be all right, and I continue to pray for them because now they're grown. They're 24 and all that, and all of them got children. That's another story. You know, and I mean that was just the opposite. People thought I was crazy. Marrying a man, well, I don't care. You know, that's just like I'm almost saying, you know, with the lady have all them kids, like, you know, they all, you know, a lot of times women, you know, they want somebody who can come and help them with those children. Thank God, you know, it's like when my husband and I got married, you know, my kids were not with me. And like I said, that's in the book, and that's another story. And it is just the way it is. The shoe is on the other foot, you know. But we try to do all we can to be there for them. We just a phone call away. If they need any extra advice or any advice, they got a mother and a stepdaddy. They're truly blessed. And the law don't have to be after me to give them anything because we give what we give until they get out on their own and I see they do trying to do something for themselves. Then I um I have more things to work with them with. But that even also is the same way with their grades, you know. So, but I'm thankful that my mom, I know one day, and I know all the time she ain't gonna be around, you know, and we're not gonna be around. But, you know, while they're here, you know, be thankful for them, you know, and learn from what they teach you. And I know a lot of them probably couldn't because they could have died or they could have been on alcohol or drugs or anything. But you don't have to birth a child to be the parent. It could be anybody else that shares and show care. Show that person appreciation in a very respectful way. Okay? You all take care. This is S.